Hello, everyone, and welcome back down here to the Gamer's Den with me, your host, Jordan, your master of lore and storyteller extraordinaire. Now, we are going right on along here with part 4 of the Fighter's Guide, and we are going to be taking a look at the gear that you want to get. Really, when it comes down to fighters, your abilities are built all the way around your weapon selections, and really, what fighter is really ever complete without their armaments, their implements of warfare, their tools of destruction and mayhem and the like, and not only that, but the armor that they wear as well. Well, we know what kind of weapon we want to have. We want a falchion, and armor, we want to go with the most heavy duty thing available. Of particular note, though, are the enchantments that we want to have on these weapons. Which magical abilities are really going to complement our build overall? Well, to that end, I've put together this list here, and it has been fun researching this and putting it all together. I've absolutely loved it. So, let's just go ahead and dive right on into this and get to the meat of the issue. And to kick things off with weapon enchantments, we are going to be taking speed. It's something that featured in the original Fighter's Guide, and it is still valuable here. When you make a full attack, you get to make an extra attack at your highest base attack bonus. Now, this counts as a +3 enchantment bonus, and for those of you who don't know, who are new to the tabletop gaming, especially D20 stuff like Pathfinder and Dungeons and Dragons, a weapon can have a maximum enchantment value of +10. The maximum bonus that these enchantments can give you for your attack rolls and for your damage rolls is 5. So you can have, say, a +2 weapon that's also a weapon of speed, and it has the Vorpal quality, which means on critical hits it just decapitates the target if they have the discernible anatomy for a head. And right there, you're looking at about a +9 total, meaning that you can only fit one more enchantment on it, possibly bumping it up to a +3. Um, Actually, no, wait. +2, speed, Vorpal. That'd be a +10 total right there. I did the math wrong in my head. I was thinking +1, said +2. But you get the idea. You have a maximum amount of enchantments that you can fit on a weapon. And so a weapon of speed is a +3, meaning you have another 7 points total you can enchant. You can get this falchion up to a +5 and have a +8 total there, with only a room for one, maybe two more enchantments overall. At least enchantments that take take up this bonus total. But the next one, however, is a little bit of an exception, and that's the impervious enchantment. What this does is it makes your weapons immune to natural and magical means of rusting, warping, and rotting. So if you're fighting the legendarily horrifying for fighters and anybody who depends on metal weaponry, rust monsters, your weapon will be immune to them. Somebody wants to use the warp wood spell on your bow, well, that no longer affects it. What this will also do for you is it doubles the hit point total and hardness bonus for each point of enchantment, meaning, well, exactly that. For every +1, plus, 2, 3, 4, each of those points will give you bonus hit points and hardness. The break DC and combat maneuver defense for the wielder each gain a bonus to twice the weapon's total enhancement bonus. So if you have a +4 weapon, the break difficulty and your combat maneuver defense for such things is increased by +8 for that +4 weapon. And to top it off, this enchantment is just an absolute steal, only costing 3,000 gold pieces. It doesn't even account for the normal enchantment point range. So, unlike the weapon of speed, which takes 3 points, this takes nothing. It's just gold that you just dump into the, well, pay the enchanter and they dump the magic into your weapon. Absolutely one that you need to pick up. Believe me, pick this up for all your gear. Trust me, the gold, it's nice amassing riches, but you know what? The weapons are what's going to keep you alive. So, invest in them. Take care of them so that they can take care of you. And speaking of taking care of things, the next enchantment is liberating. Now, what this does is a weapon with this enchantment can force those under charm, compulsions like command and dominate person to make a new will save using the weapon's enhancement as a bonus. Now, you have to hit the target with the weapon, but thankfully, if the target does have these enchantments in place on their mind, charm effects, compulsions like dominate person, the damage is automatically converted to non lethal damage. It also gives you a bonus to your sense motive skill check for detecting if somebody is under enchantments and not acting normally. And this counts as a +2 bonus. And of course, we have more enchantments than that. Coming up next, we have adaptive, and this is for bows only. The enchanted weapon acts as a composite bow of strength that automatically adjusts it to its wielder's strength score. So, if, say, you only have a +3 bonus from your strength score, and then you level up, you go up to 18, which increases that to a +4, the bow via this enchantment will automatically go up to being a +4 composite bow of strength. And that enchantment is limited to just the composite bows. And, best thing ever, it only costs 1,000 gold pieces and does not count against the enchantment total. And then, of course, rolling right along past that, we have truthful. Truthful is one that also is just a must have. This will help you to ignore the mischance incurred by illusions such as blur, displacement, and invisibility. For invisibility, you still need to know which square around you need to attack, but that 50% mischance is just totally gone once you swing it and actually connect with the target. This is another one that counts as a +2 bonus. There's a lot of things here that are just really worthwhile to get. And of course, one that's just a staple and a classic, but really depends on what you're fighting, is the Bane quality. This, if a weapon is enchanted with a Bane quality, say against orcs or drow, this weapon will count as if it's 2 higher on its enchantment bonus. So if it's a +3 Bane weapon against orcs, it will count for +5 total for your attack and damage. It also deals an extra 2d6 points of damage against the specified types, which there's a broad variety here. You have fae, undead, demons, dragons, etc. The nice thing is this only counts as a +1 bonus total there. So, and so it depends really on what it is you're going to be fighting a lot of. Hopefully, your DM is willing to be a little bit forthcoming with the information, maybe not spoiling everything, but is willing to let you research, gain some insights and the like, or just what you seem to be fighting most frequently. If you're going to Ravenloft, for example, vampires and the like, werewolves, things that are bane against those sorts of creatures will be incredibly useful. And speaking of useful, especially in Ravenloft, we have the Defiant enchantment. Now, what Defiant does, most importantly for us here, is you will never drop your weapon due to the panic condition, fear, or even if you're rendered unconscious. You also add the weapon enhancement as bonus on many rolls, like stabilizing to avoid dying. So if you get dropped to, say, -5, every round it comes to your turn, you have to roll a fortitude save to try to, for your body to stop bleeding out and start to kind of keep itself going a little bit. So you add the weapon's enchantment to your enchantment bonus to your roll. And of course, this does count as a +2 bonus there. And the last one here is something that a lot of these are must-haves, but you really need to get this one. This one is huge. Dispelling Burst. Your weapon, there's a lesser version, there's it's like Dispelling Strike or something to that effect. Either way, you want this one instead, because your weapon can now hold Dispel and Greater Dispel magic in it as a charged effect. And This also will count the weapon's enchantment bonus towards the roll to dispel magical effects on the target that you hit. So your wizard friend, or if you don't have a wizard friend, go find one that you can pay to put greater dispel magic into your weapon. So that way, when you do fight a mage, when you do fight some sorcerer or bard, or even cleric, you have some kind of a fighting chance. It's a small opening, you know, tearing down the enchantments, the protective weaves of magic that these different kinds of casters will have wrapped themselves in, but you really, really want this to tear a hole and punch through those protective layers and actually get at the soft, squishy magic user bits underneath it all. And the next one here is, well, let's just go with it. It's keen. It doubles a weapon's crit range. It's not bad to have on your backup dagger, but it will be useless for our falchions as we already have improved critical, which doubles our crit range. And not only that, but it will double the crit range for all falchions that you might possibly pick up. But like I said, it's good for your backup. It's not bad to have for that backup at all. Say for some reason you need to switch to your greatsword. Your greatsword now crits on a wider range using keen, and also this is only a +1 bonus. So it's not going to eat too much into the overall limited enchantment pool that you have for a given weapon. And the last one on here is an example of an enchantment that you can just skip over entirely for your weapons, and that's flying. It's an upgrade of the dancing enchantment that has all the same functions and allows you to have this weapon flank. So it provides a flanking bonus to you, meaning you get a +2 bonus to hit. I assume the weapon does as well. This is great for ninja and rogues that need to have that flanking in order to sneak attack in combat, but you really don't need it because you don't have a lot of flanking dependent abilities, especially with this particular build. And not only that, but this enchantment takes up +5 bonus, meaning half of your enchantment pool is gone. So at most, I mean, if you had a +5 weapon and you threw this enchantment down on it, that's +10 total right there. It's still a pretty badass weapon. +5, a +5 enchantment is like legendary quality. This is like Excalibur levels of enchantment there. But it flies around and it attacks, and that's neat. That is cool. But there are much better things for us to get, as already listed. And this does not give you as much benefit as it would to other classes. So, if you find a weapon with the flying enchantment, give it to the rogue, give it to the ninja, give it to somebody who needs flanking. But that's just weapons. We also have armor that needs to be enchanted. Armor is going to keep you alive while your weapons put your enemies into the ground, right where you need them to be, and possibly back to where they came from. So let's keep this rolling right on along, shall we? So, for starting us off on armor enchantments, we have Mind Buttressing, probably one of the most important enchantments that you can pick up for your armor. This will provide you a +2 resistance bonus on will saves, which, that's not bad. I mean, will saves are the Achilles heel for most, if not all, fighter builds, at least right out of this class. Maybe depending on what archetypes you pick. But anyways, what this also does for you, and is the most important part, it will render you immune to possession and mind control. So things like charm, compulsion effects like command, those no longer have effect on you. So magic jar, gone because it's a possession effect. Um, Dominate person doesn't work on you. Command, as already noted, doesn't work on you. And best of all, this only counts as a +2 bonus. You'd be crazy not to have this on your armor just for this reason, because we're putting together a pretty high damage build with a pretty good chance of landing lots of crits. You don't want this turning on the party suddenly mid-fight. And also, one other thing that's going to be handy here, and that's the buoyant enchantment. So what this does is enchanted armor and shields give you no penalty on your swim checks. Costs anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000 gold pieces. Relatively cheap considering that this is going to help keep you alive, because While we're not going to be bad at swimming, certainly throwing 1 point in to get that +3 miscellaneous bonus and our high strength scores are going to help. But full plate armor with a heavy steel shield and also a two-handed weapon, trying to swim in the water, you're going to stand pretty decent chances of maybe failing one or two rolls in a row, and if not drowning, at least struggling to get to shore, and a GM going, okay, you're exhausted now, and you're coughing and sputtering up water for at least one more turn. So yeah, definitely pick this up. Be buoyed, be lightweight, and swim through the water. Definitely grab it. Also, another great one to grab that will help immensely with your survivability is Comfort. The Comfort enchantment will keep your armor clean, pristine, and you comfortable, and it can be slept in like it's light armor. So, while I still think having a mithril chain shirt as a backup is a good plan, this, especially if you're pretty sure you're going to be attacked, or if you're deep in enemy territory, or if you're traversing the Underdark or through the Abyss or the Nine Hells, wherever you might be, keeping your armor on without having to worry about strapping on all those buckles, all the different layers, the gambeson, the chainmail, the plate. This will save you a lot of trouble and keep your armor class in tip-top shape for whatever combat encounter may roll your way unexpectedly. And the next enchantment we have here is another one that does not count against our enchantment bonuses, and that's Determination. And once per day, when the owner reaches 0 or fewer hit points, the item will automatically cast Breath of Life on them, which will heal you for 5d8 hit points, plus a bonus equal to the caster level up to, well, not caster level. What was it? It's up to a +25 bonus maximum altogether there. So you could have a pretty solid shot at, well, if not keeping yourself totally safe, you're at least going to bounce back up from the fight and maybe give that cleric a chance to come over and cast, I don't know, if you need something better than Cure Light Wounds, maybe the heal spell just to get you back up to full hit points and everything restored and cleared away out of your system. It's expensive though, very expensive. 5,000, 2,000, even 8,000, in the grand scheme of things of adventuring, that's not bad. That's peanuts. You can make that back with one raid through some dragon's lair. Although that should be a challenging anyways, this is going to cost you 30,000 gold pieces. It's huge, but it is worth it. Get this, how it does not count against the enchantment bonus, I don't know, but throw this on with Comfort, be buoyed under the buoyant blah, blah. If I could speak and pronounce that word, my god. And also throw mind buttressing in on top of it, and you're going to have armor that just literally glows to anybody using detect magic. But those are not all the enchantments that we have here. We also have another one that for some reason does not count against the enchantment bonus, and that is etherealness. You become ethereal per the ethereal jaunt spell, and you stay ethereal for as long as you want. But it's only once a day, and once you pop back out of being ethereal, you cannot use the armor again until at least one day has rolled by. This is another one that's going to really set you back on the coin department, though, coming in at a whopping, terrifying 49,000 gold pieces. But definitely a useful one to have. Maybe not as useful as Breath of Life, but for tactical movement and the like, and also getting a drop on those pesky spellcasters, definitely useful. But also, speaking of useful, we have the Advancing Enchantment. And what this baby does for you is once per round, when the wearer drops an opponent to 0 hit points or less with a melee attack, they can immediately move up to 10 feet as a free action. This movement does not provoke any attacks of opportunity, and as far as I can tell, does not count against your movement total. So, definitely an incredible enchantment to have on your armor, and solves a lot of those mobility issues that wearing plate armor can present. This also only counts as a +1 bonus, which, makes sense. This is more movement and the like, but this movement will help keep you in range of your targets or advance through targets. And you drop one person in front, move 10 feet, and pass through 3 or 4 people who do not get to have attacks of opportunity on you. Sure, maybe you end up surrounded, but that just means you've placed yourself in a target-rich environment to use cleave and all the other feats that we have in place here. And you can just start carving a bloody path through everything. And also, speaking of being able to carve a bloody path and having effective gear in place, we have the animated enchantment. This is something that applies specifically to shields, and you definitely want this so you can keep going to town with your falchion two-handed while keeping your AC as high as possible. What this will do is when you let your shield go, it will provide all its bonuses and penalties for 4 rounds, after which it will drop to the ground and cannot be used. Well, the animated enchantment cannot be used for another 4 rounds. This will absolutely boost your AC, and whatever enchantments you have on this will still affect you. So definitely pick this one up. Maybe it's not something you'll use every combat, but having it there on your back that you can pick up and just let go, absolutely worth it. Pick this one up. It is a +2 bonus, and it's a +2 bonus enchantment on a shield, not your main suit of armor overall. And of course, we come around to our last couple of enchantments for our armor. We have moderate fortification. Now, this is pretty nice. It's a +3 bonus total, so hefty, but it gives you a 50% chance of negating critical hits and sneak attacks. I mean, you still 50% of the time they may land on you, but reducing that overall is nice, especially at higher levels. Sneak attacks get to be some pretty devastating things, and well, so do critical hits overall. And given that critical hits can also happen as part of sneak attacks, it's definitely worthwhile to have this one. And considering how much benefit this will give you in negating a lot of that, absolutely want to have it in place. And the other enchantment here, Reflecting, is another one that's shield specific. Once a day, you can reflect spells as the spell turning spell. Spell. And it counts as a +5 bonus. It's only once a day, but you know what? I had a particular fighter build actually focused on using falchions and the like. It was not this particularly advanced. This was earlier on in Pathfinder, but I landed a critical hit on a lich, rolled something stupid like 30, 40 points of damage in one go. This was at like level 5 or 6. I got a crit, everything came out beautifully, rolled nearly max damage. The lich still had his damage reduction in place, but he felt that. And he took a 5-foot step away from me and went, very good. And then hit me with a disintegrate spell, and I died. Poof, gone. So, have spell turning in place. You will absolutely love to have it there. But what you will not love having is spell resistance, because there's actually 3 tiers of this one. You have spell resistance 13, 15, and 17. What this does is it forces your opponent to roll a spell penetration check. Basically, they make their caster level check, they roll a d20, and here's the thing. By the time you can afford any of these enchantments, well, let's just say, by the time you can afford spell resistance 13, all the equivalent level spellcasters, unless you're fighting very low level spellcasters, to overcome this, they only need to roll a 2. The only way they fail is if they roll a 1. And the same applies to 15 and to 17. And generally, enemy spellcasters, if they are not the main villain you're going up against, there's somebody that is essential and integral to the big bad evil guy's plans. So they're probably going to be powerful. They're going to be a challenge. They're going to be a threat. This will do nothing for you. I mean, this is awful. Don't pick these up. Don't do it. They're bad. They're not even good for, well, maybe I'd find a way to make them useful overall, but unless your DM's willing to boost up the resistance totals, which I certainly do for my players, eh, don't don't bother buying these. Just don't. But that's all we have for the enchantments on our gear today. Uh, Magic items, we'll get around to just some general use magic items. A lot of our classic favorites are going to be showing up there. Cloaks of Resistance, handy haversacks, the enchanted quivers and the like, but that'll be next time around. If you enjoyed today's video, why not roll on down there and click on that like button? And you may also find that you'll enjoy the videos popping up over here. Or if this hasn't been your first stop in here at the Gamers Den, well then hell, go ahead and go on down there and subscribe if you've been enjoying things so far. We'd certainly be happy to have you here. But once again, I have been your host, Jordan, your master of lore and storyteller extraordinaire. Thank you all so very much for your time, and you have yourselves a good night.